How many properties do you manage? Seems like a simple question, but without context, the answer is meaningless. Regardless of the number, a better question is, how many properties can you comfortably manage? And now, please tell me that you're managing less than this number. You see, until I started managing rentals myself, I used to ask this question about how many properties do you manage when I first started investing. And now, many years later, my line of questioning is actually quite different. These days, what I'm looking for is key indicators of if a property manager is able to handle their workload and that they have the resources, the tools, and the support to know that my property manager will be successful in helping me achieve my goals. So, what should you be asking to ensure that your property manager or your agency is well equipped to give you a great experience and help move you forward in your investing journey? Well, firstly, asking and understanding what tools your property manager will have to allow them to be more effective is a really good start. When I first started working in property management, everything had to be done manually, and I mean everything. But at any agency these days that has adopted or invested in programs that assist with tasks like conducting inspections, managing maintenance, helping with tribunal documentation preparation, screening applications, and then streamlines these processes to allow for an agency team to save time and be more organised, it's going to have a huge impact. Now, obviously, the systems is not the only part of what we're looking at, but this alone can free up huge chunks of time across most medium to larger agencies, and this is obviously going to affect the workload of your property manager, which meaning a property manager that's properly equipped could easily manage many more properties than a property manager without those tools, who is in fact quite possibly struggling with far less properties than their teched up counterpart. The next thing I would look at is if the agency team is portfolio based or task based. Now, I'm not going to go all jargon on you, but basically portfolio based means a single property manager looks after everything from A to Z in the management of a group of properties, aka their portfolio. Whereas a task-based structure means that all the rental properties an agency manage is looked after by multiple property managers, and each person looks after different tasks or a different task per person. Now this all depends on the agency, and all those tasks make up what's required to be carried out in the management of your property. So this is where the team will have their most effective person working on a particular task for every property that that agency manages, and will often mean that their tasks is streamlined with that person tackling the same task for multiple properties at once. Where if the agency uses a portfolio approach where everything's A to Z with the one property manager, then there's going to be more stop-start in the way tasks are carried out. So this means that the question of how many properties do you manage is a reasonable question for your property manager if they do everything themselves, but the question for task-based agencies should be around how the team effectively communicates. The biggest reason I think task-based structure is a preferable way to go with things is due to the consistency of service when an agency grows. This is noticeable when an agency hires a newer property manager in their team, and if their newer property manager is responsible for managing the A to Z of your property in a portfolio structure, they may have to do everything that an experienced property manager does as well. Now, if your property manager is new to the industry, it will not be likely that an inexperienced property manager will be great at every part involved in a portfolio structure straight away, as this is a role that requires a very diverse set of skills. And if every property manager you ask is being really honest, we all know that this takes time to build those skills, where you have a much better chance of being very good at a portion of the role, and then as you train someone, you can then build on those skills one at a time much easier in a task-based office. This means if the agency that manages your property grows, you're less likely to feel their growing pains. You know, if you're signing up to an agreement for a period of time and you understand that most property management agencies want to grow their business, then understanding their approach to training and growth is going to be really important. Because if you're investing for the next 5, 10, 20 years, then at some stage you're going to see firsthand how changes in staff can be a really smooth thing and possibly adds value to your experience, or it's going to be a really bad experience. You see, as lovely as it is to think that, whenever we need, we can simply hire a property manager with prior experience, the truth is that industry experience is only valuable when it's attached to the right type of people. Before we look at experience, the right person will have the right energy, the right attitude and ethics. Trust and transferable skills is what we're also going to be typically looking for when we look at our hires. I'm a big believer of hiring before you need your next team member. This is so that we have the time to firstly get the right person. This also gives us the time to train people the right way before we take the L plates off. Our approach is Real People Real Estate doesn't just hire great property managers, we make them. We train some more, and then we train again. I want to train my team so that we look after our landlords' properties like we look after my own. Now, getting the right people into any business is always going to be super important, and I have a really upfront conversation with my landlords about, when a new person comes on with regards to training, how they're supported, and regardless of the level of industry experience, that just like everything else in our business, we follow a process, because this is how we maintain my standards. So without detouring too much, because I've already done that, I believe managing properties in a task-based structure allows our team to hire more effectively and get the right people into the business. So the other big advantage is some staff at all businesses are going to be, amazing in some areas, and they're not going to be quite as good at others. So being task-based allows the business to leverage every person in a team to be positioned to do what they are superstars at. So with this in mind, you can really build a team that focuses on putting people into a position to bring the most value to your clients. So if you're looking at an agency who portfolio manages, their staff retention, training and recruitment piece really needs to be addressed, in my opinion. The last thing I would suggest about talking with potential property managers or agencies, instead of how many properties you manage, is does the agency have a track record of delivering outcomes? So a great example of this would be market statistics, recent case studies. What have they achieved? If you're looking at a newer agency, your service delivery is going to be really important, but do they back that up with a guarantee? The day I opened my business, I started with a service guarantee because I didn't have the reviews at the time that proved how good we were going to be. I didn't have the stats to show clients because I was still starting out. So while we now have the social proof of reviews and many clients, the thing is that you really never know what experience you're going to get until you get started. But by having proof, if outcomes are there and you're seeing feedback on what their clients think, then hopefully this will allow you to engage an agency that is not able just to service you, but also exceeds your expectations. So I'm Ricky from Real People Real Estate. If you liked and enjoyed this video, please like and share it. Don't forget to comment on what topic you'd like us to cover in the future as well.